gotten the calls about this, recognizing your sponsors. So your uniform yourself, depending on which competition you are going to first, give yourself time to have your printer make them. I know ours needs 10 business days, so we turn in ours within about 2 weeks from now, and we're competing at week 2. So if you're competing at week 1, you probably need to really start considering getting your uniform and stuff together and in. So the thing we want to talk about so you have enough time to do it is recognizing your sponsors or your partners. The FIRST Robotics community, you'll hear them called both things. We call them partners, our robotics team. Because they don't just give us donations, we try to give back to them. We go out and do demos at our partners' facilities to try to earn them back, especially like restaurants and stuff, to try to earn them back money. It's our goal. A restaurant or local business gives us money. We try to find a way to make them earn their donations back. So we call them partners on our team. First is have a rule of how to recognize your sponsors. They just say you should recognize your sponsors by putting them on your uniforms and robots. That's pretty much all that they say. Up to you what you do. On our team, we have levels of partnership. We have a big document on our team's website that I will link for you guys. So if you go to our website, hover partners, there's a thing that we call our program partnership information packet. What we do is, hi, we decided to go to team management stuff first because I didn't know how long you'd be.
Okay. Okay.
So partnership packet is what we call what we have, and it outlines our levels of partnership. So to do is based on how much money or goods this gives us, we give them more recognition. So if someone gives us $500, they might only get their name in text. But if it's $5,000, we're going to like plaster their logo on our robot and our uniform. So rookie year, when we were rookies, I think we had all of 5 sponsors. And we was on the back of our rookie uniforms, there are 5 gigantic logos that are all the same size. And that's the back of our team shirt. Speaking in the FIRST community, you'll see teams with their uniform as their logo on the front and their stickers on the back. That's pretty much the general kind of way of things. Just lost ability to process and type anything on my computer, Jason. So if you have those up, could you just add to where we are?
Yeah.
Also, okay, cool, yep. Thanks. It's laptop update time. I've had this since Lucas was born, so it served me well. But recognize your partners that way or your sponsors that way. Some teams choose, if there's another team in the area that has really helped them, sometimes they'll put their, like, thanks to Team Rush, because you're awesome. That's you. They're not you guys want to do that. Advice to you is to just kind of come up with something and say we're either going to do them all the same or we're going to do it by money the first year. So, I mean, you guys have so many sponsors that you fill the back of a shirt. You might want to do something. But if you only have 5 or 6 sponsors, put them all there, give them all recognition. It'll be fun and cool. Don't hurt yourself over it. So you can also do your robot. You're going to place on your robot. Generally speaking, especially this year with the size dimensions that you can be, it would be if you have the weight, take a piece of clear plastic, go to your local sun printing place and have them print you some decals and slap them on the side of your robot. A year we had a giant plastic panel on the side of our robot. We took off at like Kinko's or something, cut them with a razor and slapped them on. That's what we did. It doesn't have to be fancy. So partners may say, I want our logo in full color and the correct colors to this dimension. And if that's part of your agreement for getting money from them, then I guess I say. But otherwise, just do what you want. So, does anybody questions on that part, shirt or robot recognition partners? I would say nowhere does it say that you must include a first logo or thank first or thank Andy Mark for the kit of parts or thank any people for the kit of parts. So if you use a certain sticker or a certain thing that's in your kit of parts, you do not have to recognize those people. You can choose to. Like you want to say, hey, thanks Robo Promos for giving us bumper material and brackets and stuff, then by all means say that, but you don't have to. Any questions on that part?
Just that we're not allowed to put any of that on the bumpers, correct?
Correct. Didn't they, but Clint or Jason, didn't they do this year where you can put a first logo on your bumpers or something?
You sent some logos in the kit.
To put on, or you encouraged to put them on? Yeah. So first have to be the blue or the red with the white text, which we'll go over all that when we get to bumper area, but no, none of that on your bumpers, just on your robot. So recognizing your sponsors in TIMS. The little tricky one. Our team, I mean, granted, we've been around for 10 years, and Jason, you can jump in here and talk about what Team Rush does too. Our team to be either a platinum or gold, I think, sponsor to get your name and our official team name. So people who give like $100 with their name and list in the official team name. What your team name is, when your team goes to the field, they're going to be like, and team 2337 from Grand Blanc, Michigan, the Engineers, brought to you by General Motors, Premier Tooling Systems, Fiat Chrysler Foundation, Davison Tooling Engineering, the Michigan Department of Education, Unipost Manufacturing, the Robot Space, Kettering University, and Blank Community High School. So whatever you put in there as your partners will be read at competition. So there are people who do put all of their partners in, and then the guy who's announcing is up there for like 15 minutes going on and on and on, and mom and pop donut shop and the corner store going on and on and on. So whatever you want read can be read. So like we choose to have only our platinum and gold, or maybe it's platinum, I don't remember because my computer's frozen, sponsors, red team name. Jen, I don't know if you want to talk about what you guys do with your logos, either on the robot, on your uniforms, and the name, then I'll add it to the team name.
We do basically the same thing. So our upper level sponsors, I believe 5,000 and above, get the name plus the larger logo on the back of the T-shirts, plus your logo on the robot. And then, again, depending on the room that's available on the robot, room that's available on the T-shirts, we kind of go in a tiered level down. And then the team name, how low we went. I did the 5,000 and above, but I want to say that we maybe went down to the 1,000 level donation for the official team name listing. And like I was saying, at the competition, at least for first match during qualifications, your first match in the playoffs, they will go through and they'll do a full team name announcement. But then for most of the matches in between, they'll just announce you by your team nickname. They won't go through all the sponsors necessarily. It's a good way to recognize your sponsor.
Yeah, and their official portfolio on like the Blue Alliance on First's website, and then if you make it to the championship, they do like a big booklet, and all of that information is listed in there. So up to you.
They
ahead.
they also announce it at the first match of each day. So Friday morning, when your first match, they'll announce all your sponsors, and then Saturday morning, they will typically announce your sponsors again. So if your partners come out to watch you play, it's gonna, your partners get to hear their names said at the beginning, and then maybe even eliminations. They may do it. It depends on the event, though.
So, how do you add these people? You do the primary and secondary contact in Tim's, and you're going to log into Tim's. That's the same place that you went in to print your team's roster for kickoff. You're going to go into the same thing, except this time, instead of doing update roster, you're going to click sponsors. There's actually a button that says sponsors on that. This is where you enter all the information. It actually will walk you through like a sponsor official name. And what you write in here, however you capitalize it, however you spell it, that it will show up. First, does not go through and double check to make sure that you are doing it correctly. You have to do it right. And I tell you, it doesn't look very professional. If you hurry this up and don't capitalize things correctly and spell stuff wrong, partners get upset. So just make sure you take some time and do this. Then some up and down arrows that you'll see in like an X for deletion. For ours, we choose to put in the order of the next red first is the person that gave us the most money, and then we go down from there. So name is really long with a lot of slashes in between if you add everybody on there. So how to add that in there is totally up to you. On recognizing your sponsors.
Question, is Borg Warner near you or something? Is there corporate headquarters there or what?
The corporate, I have, Brand, I should let you know. So I did a share screen for the people that are on the computer of our Tim list.
Okay.
So the Borg Warner's in Auburn Hills. I believe they're at least a North American headquarters in Auburn Hills. So it's about 10 minutes away. And we've some members of team on the teams that have worked there. So you can see
State of Michigan, is that just because they give the grant,
the state
Michigan
grant?
Education?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If you got the state grant this year, you need to read in the literature that they sent out. The first year they did it, they wanted to be recognized as the state of Michigan. Then last year they were very particular on which logo they wanted you to use and the fact that they wanted to be recognized as the Michigan Department of Education. So if you got the state grant is what it's usually nicknamed as. Sure you read everything that the lady, I forget her name, Ann, I think maybe, put out, and read that to make sure. So, pretty good chunk of money. So, and be shy about contacting your sponsors and asking them for logos. So that your robot and you do your shirt that it has the correct logo on it. Plus, they feel good when you're like, hey, you're like, hey, thanks for donating to our team. We're going to put you on our shirts. And they're like, you are? That's really cool. So, any questions on sponsors before we touch on the last couple things for team organization before I move into robot? I'm going to go travel arrangements next. Where you got to remember that where you're going, there will be 39 other teams plus all of the team members and volunteers and everything for all of those teams there. If you need hotels, you should probably be booking them now. hotels, if you call them and tell them that you're with a school and you're traveling for a robotics competition, they probably already, all the ones in the area, have been called by the event coordinators and the volunteer coordinators for the event to warn them that people will be coming, and you may get a discounted rate. You should be looking for emails coming up here pretty soon, but you can also go onto First in Michigan's website, which is firstinmichigan.com, and there will probably be a link on there for suggested hotels for each event that may be giving discounts if you need a hotel. If not, then you can just call them, call the hotel and tell them that you're with the robotics event, and they may give you a discount. You may also get a multi-room discount. You can ask for these things. Tell them that you're with a nonprofit organization, and they'll probably give you another discount. So all of these things can add up to a lot of money for you to be saved. Okay. So your team's going to need food for lunches or to go out to dinners. Call and research restaurants in the area to see if there are places that can accommodate your team or be willing to have a reservation.
So carry out, which is nice. Our team is 36 members. So we do we'll do Kentucky Fried Chicken one night, or depending on where we're at, we'll find an Italian restaurant that'll do cater and get a panna mostaccioli. So that usually works out pretty well for a larger team. But again, if you're a smaller team, getting them in and out of a restaurant may not be that bad.
And decide if you want to invite your parents with you, or if all the students and mentors are going, or who all is going. That can drastically affect, once you get up around 8 people, that's when it usually starts to get a little more difficult to find a place to go, and you're going to want to make a reservation. So the things that you need to think about, if you're planning on bringing food into the competition, so your team is planning on making meals, if somebody is making a panna mostaccioli and you're just I'll just bring it into the event. You're going to check with the volunteer coordinators or the event coordinator. I'm sorry, not the volunteer, the event coordinator, and make sure that it's okay that you can bring food in, because some schools have what can and can't be brought in, and a lot of schools, I will say now, most schools do not have plugs. So don't come bringing in a crock pot or a warmer or anything else like that, because you will not have a place to plug it in. So just about those things when you're planning in advance. And those things that you're going to want to start recruiting people to now.
Well, entry chargers, are we going to be able to plug those in?
So have a pit area for your robot. You'll get a 10 by 10 area, and there will be power there for your robot and everything else. But you can't bring food into the pit. So normally what they do is every competition will have a couple of gyms. The primary gym, the big gym, is where the field is set up and everybody's sitting watching the matches. Then an auxiliary gym or something like that is where the pit will be, and then have the lunchroom at the school set up for people to eat in. So they're usually just not plugs for food type things. There will be food for for your robot. So, questions on travel plans or food? And just a reminder about, don't forget about your awards. They're coming here.
So do you try to carpool, or do you try to take a bus, or what do you do?
Our school charges us to use a bus, an outrageous amount of money. So we've taken a bus. When we do our team fee at the beginning of the year, we collect $20 from each kid to put toward gas. And then we parents and mentors drive, and then from that money we take the gas money, we go and buy gift cards and drivers gift cards for gas. Jason, I don't know what you guys do.
So yeah, so we carpool to every competition, and depending on how far it is, like most of the ones that we do are local, so we don't usually do gas reimbursement. We'll go over to Grand Rapids side of the state. We'll usually try to do something like that. The only time we rent buses is for Worlds in St. And then we do an outside of the state regional in Duluth. Take a bus there. But everything within Michigan, we carpool to.
Yeah, I think we do reimbursements if it's like 30 or more miles each way or something like that. I think Troy is what we travel is an hour for us to try. I know an hour is not a statement of distance, but that's what we do. All right. Any other management questions before we move into robots? Clint, are you still on? Well, a team meeting that's just starting at 6:30, so he be there.
All right.
What
So we'll start with non-robot stuff.
I'm here.
So
I was just kind of in and out.
Okay.
So you can ask me questions at our meeting.
You and Jason are going to be talking, and I'm typing now because my computer's working again. So you and Jason are. I'm tagging you two in because now it's your area of expertise. So this is the clip we always do. If your robot is not moving, please tell us now so we can help you. Does anyone on the call have a moving robot? If you not, please do not be embarrassed. We will help you.
About 70 is good. In that regard.
That is moving as well.
Oh. Wait, so good. Dan, are you still good?
Yeah, it moves just fine. We're just short a couple batteries still. You heard anything on our batteries?
Running, but we have changed the mounting board for the electrical, so we're in the process of rerun the wiring and such.
So you're confident that you'll be able to do it?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, good. All right, I think you guys are the best. I think this is the first year we have not had somebody on this call say, started building yet? So, all of you guys, we're talking about how behind you're feeling each year. On this call, we have had someone say that they haven't started building yet. So, congratulations to you all. Congratulations. All right.
All right.
Your dimensions should be finalized by now. Clint, Jason, you're in.
You don't have your chassis cut down to the either A size or B size. That should be done as soon as possible so you can have the right dimensions to start building stuff.
Good question.
Along with that,
when you say A size and B size, you're talking about the required volumes, correct? You're not talking...
Correct.
Because there was three different chassis configurations with the kit, and I wanted to make sure I was 100% clear. We went with square because they're like the...
You have to stay in the volume, A and B volume at all times. The information that comes in the kit parts chassis instructions, those are kind of like guidelines, right? You have to ensure that even if you get those and you add your bumpers on, bumpers are going to add about 6 to 7 inches to the overall width and overall length of your robot. that you still are within the volume of A and B robot, depending on which one you're building.
Oh, those guidelines. There was tagged with a warning. The long chassis said that there's a warning and that you could go outside. We assumed that. Yeah, the square one was going to be safe. I have to look at that and measure that up. Okay.
Yeah,
So the
verify
best
that.
thing to do is this week, like a goal for everyone is that next meeting, measure your chassis from the front to the back and from left to the right, and make sure that if you add 6 inches to that, you're going to be within the volume A or volume B size from at least those 2 dimensions, right? So the volume A, it's 40 by 36. Then volume B is 30 by 36, I think that's what it is. So that when you measure in, you're going to add, like I said, 6 to 7 inches of your bumpers. That as well has to be included in that volume. Okay? If any questions, please ask now, because I'm telling you now, this is going to be one of the biggest things that people go to an event and can't pass inspection because they don't fit within volume A or volume B. They have to take their robot and get rid of 3 to 4 inches. I think we need to make sure we quote the rules. I think it's 30 by 36.
I'll look it up real quick here. Sorry.
Okay. I have a question on the bumpers. Okay. As you attach them, it says that it has to be within a half an inch of the corner. Does it mean that to meet in a half an inch, or that it has to be secured a half inch from the end of the frame?
So bumper, the wooden portion of your bumper has to be touching within a half inch at least of the corner. My understanding of this is of the corner of each ends of that segment, right? So you have an opening into your robot, and so you have one side is 6 inches and the other side is 6 inches of bumpers. You got an opening in between. On the side, you'll have half inch. You got to make sure your bumper is physically touching your frame perimeter there, and at least on the other side, it has to be touching as well for other segments. But there are more rules that say over a certain length, you have to make sure that you're supporting the bumper by frame perimeter with sizes. It's a really, as the figure is. I don't know if Jason can look up the figure and maybe put in our notes this week. But
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we had it in our notes last week too.
Okay. Biggest thing they were running into problems with is they thought it was saying that it had to be supported within a half an inch of the corner, and they couldn't get the support with the wood in that. So you're saying they can support it a little bit far away, but it has to be touching with an inch. Okay, perfect.
Right,
yeah,
so
the idea
I was just looking at the picture. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The picture shows that you can have a half inch that's attached to the rigid part of your robot frame perimeter. I see, sure.
Yes. There's
You can have a
an update 5 about this too. So it is basically that your bumper is set to hit you, right? They don't want the bumper to snap because there's no frame perimeter supporting that. So forget what the figure is. Like I said, we'll link it in the notes. But it goes through kind of a whole frame to say this is okay, this is okay, this is not okay, this is not okay. You got to make sure that at all points, the best thing to do, if you have a kit apart chassis, just make sure your bumper's touching of your edges. So there's no reason to kind of have a gap there. It's going to, ensure that your bumpers are going to be stronger and be able to take, better hits. So are you guys doing an opening inside of your frame, or are you doing like a full 360 bumper?
We are doing a 360 bumper, but we're cutting it so that it's 2 C pieces that attach.
Sure, yeah. So anyway, all the rookies in their kits have the Andy Mark bumper kit. It's actually, I think the first time they released this, it's a pretty system where you can do kind of what you're saying is have 2 C shapes, kind of hook the bottom first, and then you swing up the top and put a couple pins in and locks your bumpers on. Really solid, really easy to use, and there's instructions of how to do that on Andy Mark's website. So like, if you're still kind of wondering how to physically attach it, that's a great opportunity to use, and you already have it. You don't have to buy anything.
Thank you.
That's what you guys are using. I don't know if you guys are using that.
We are. We also bought got the bumper kit from Robo Promo. So we have both the pieces and then from Andy Mark, and then we got that kit from them.
Yeah. So Andy Mark's great with the kit apart chassis. If you do anything outside of kit apart chassis, his little bumper kit works as good because it doesn't mount to the frame kind of easily the way that one's designed. If you're using a kit apart chassis, which I assume most rookies are doing that, they can have bumper kit. It'll be easy to do, and your bumper should be attached extremely rigid.
Questions on bumpers?
So that's, are we losing people, or are we just not talking?
Nope.
I just think that they're good, guys. It's such a great
Everyone's
job.
good?
All right.
Being shy. We haven't started on our bumpers yet at my team, but we're just do a 360 wrap. I mean, we're not going to do anything particularly special. We're keeping everything as simple as possible this year because
Giving you a standing ovation right now for building within your resources. I'm standing, applauding you.
So the big thing, though, is you do want to build those sooner than later because you're going to want to test some of the dynamics of the field in practice elements with bumpers on. Because, right, you got to remember, if you go up to the feeder station, you're going to be another potentially 3 1/4 inches away from that feeder station, right? So the dynamic of how the balls roll out, how they roll into your robot, or you get that a gear from the station too, you're going to put those bumpers on it to kind of see it. Anybody that's trying to make some kind of intake to pick up the bumpers, not bumpers, to pick the fuel or the gears, you test it with bumpers because it causes it to where your intake now no longer works because you can't reach those objects because now you have, like I said, a 3 1/4 inch space that you didn't plan on from the beginning.
Can overhang the bumpers as long as they don't go beyond the bumpers if our bumpers gets us right to our limit, correct?
Say that again?
Well, let's say my robot is 30, it's 36 by 40. So let's say my bumpers are like 30.5 by 39.5. Then that is to my metal frame behind the bumper that leans out 2 inches. So it leans out 2 inches over that 2.5 inches of bumper. Is that legal?
At the start of the match, you are fully contained within the frame parameter. So what it means is at the beginning of the match, taking your bumpers off and pushing your robot so that the frame is touching a wall, that piece that hangs out that 2.5 inches or whatever dimension you said it was, cannot touch the wall or extend past that wall. Once the match starts, it could then kind of spring out or fall out or shake out or something like that. But at the start of the match, you have to be fully within your frame perimeter. And the frame perimeters define the area where your bumpers are going to be attached. As if you were to take a rope all the way around your frame between 0 and 7 inches off the ground, and that would be your frame perimeter. So what that means is, like, if you put a rope across like a U shape, it's going to span that U shape, like so for an intake. You have to put bumpers inside of the U, but you have to put on the corners of the U. Does that make sense?
Overhang the bumpers at the beginning then. Okay, I didn't know that. So, okay.
Yes. Yeah, you got to have it. Like, so a lot of what they do is they take some rubber bands, or, you know, I even see people take like a like a rubber band or rope, and they pull it so that it holds this mechanism inside the robot, and then they tuck the rubber band under their wheel. So when there's drive, the wheel drives off the rubber band springs away and lets that fall outside of the robot, and the rest of the time it sticks out the rest of the match. Right? So that's okay, but you have it so that it's within that frame parameter at the beginning of the match.
Any other bumper questions? A few more things we're going to try to get through in the next 15 minutes or so. Jason, up. Lift off your robot while practicing at home and using the Allen Bradley light as a visual status indicator on your robot.
Yeah, so when you set up your control systems and start driving, have your driver station on your laptop. That'll be your interface between the robot and the joysticks or game pads. The wireless card on your laptop is what will talk to the wireless router on the robot. So I always get these backwards because they were backwards back in the day. Spacer is the e-stop now. Correct me wrong, Clint?
Yes. That's wrong?
Okay. You know them off the top of your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So at any given time, if you have an extreme, emergency, someone says that the robot's going crazy or something like that, and you need to e-stop your robot, basically smacking your hand down on the keyboard and make sure you hit the space bar will e-stop your robot. Now, whenever the space bar is clicked, you have to shut down the robot and restart it and reconnect to it because it's an emergency stop. You want to just disable your robot because you're done practicing or coding, you hit the enter key. So when you hit the enter key, it will cause your robot to disable, not e-stop, so you can make some changes, maybe change code or, empty out the hopper or something like that, re-enable it, back and forth. There's a quick key that you can click to do enable via the keyboard. It's a 3-button press. I think it is, I'm trying to find a keyboard real quick. A regular one. I was looking at a Google Chromebook. So the key press is bracket, I think. Basically, right above the keyboard, there's the three symbols. The bracket
above enter?
slash, I don't know if it's, yeah, right above enter. If you do those three simultaneously at the same time, will enable your robot. Be a little cautious to that because it's better just to click on it to enable it.
Mm-hmm.
That way it takes a little bit more effort to do and your robot doesn't go crazy. Whenever you enable your robot, you want to ensure that you're in the right mode. You want to make sure you're not in autonomous mode and you're trying to run teleop because start run autonomous, and if you have it set up to drive, percent speed for 20 seconds, the robot's going to take off and run into a wall or run into a student or something like that. So ensure you know what mode you are enabling and disabling your robot in. Really enabling, not disabling.
And someone on the space bar.
Yep.
It's very important when you are testing your robot at any point in time that someone is at your computer with their finger over the space bar, paying attention to the robot, not talking to the person next to them, not on their phone, not eating a sandwich, standing there with their hand on the space bar so that if something happens, they can press it immediately without an incident happening.
You have a third person while testing. That's their sole responsibility. They're disabled person, so their finger is on the enter key or over the space bar, and the will hit the enable key, and if something goes wrong, they're responsible for the disable to stop that. So.
Any questions on that?
This is 6580. And I was on how we throw out the bat signal for help, some programming. we had set up to help us, it fell through. So we're looking for some short-time help.
Are you doing LabVIEW?
Java.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah.
at?
Marshall, Michigan.
Okay. So you're kind of in the middle of the state.
We got the simple program to get it running. We had it running and moving today, but we want to slow down some, but it's not so fast, and something simple like that. It's for not what we're doing. It's a little tricky.
Email, and I'll connect you to our programming group. Unless Clint, do you ever?
So there's a site, I think it's Screen Scrabs or Screen Shares or something like that, that have a lot of, that's what it is, that have a lot of like tutorials for the different programming languages, kind of good places to start. Like I said, they might kind of show you how to, hook a button up to your drive or a joystick or something like that. That's always a good start point. If it is specific, like you're trying a specific, I think we out to either, Team Rush or either one, and we'll try to point you in the right direction. You guys are like moving around a little bit. That's at least better than not moving completely at all. Usually you have issues with speed. Like I said, it's sometimes better to mechanically adjust your speed so that, you don't like set your motors like, so if you're trying to have a something or an arm and you're like, wow, that arm's too fast, we want it down. You don't really want to slow it down in programming to run at 20%. You want to mechanically slow it down with a transmission so it has more torque and it can run at that normal 80 to 100% speed and get the most out of your motors. So I don't know if that's what you're saying that you're doing, or you just want to, for team purposes, you want to slow it down just so that kids don't drive crazy with it.
Like that, we were trying to slow it down because it seems really fast. But if we can get down with the motors, that would be better.
Yeah.
How
So
much
you're
weight
going to make
do
sure
you
you
have
take a
on your
look
robot
at.
right now?
Yeah.
Oh, 6 months. Be up to maybe 80.
So take the weight you can. If you can find some bells or something, some weight on it. When you put weight on it, it's gonna actually slow down the acceleration of the robot and the top end speed. To accelerate to that point. So it's seeing as fast once you start weighing it down. At the same time, be very cautious about slowing it down too much. That looks like, in our workspace, this looks great. It's speed, we can control it. When you get on the field, you got all these other robots zipping around you, and they might be able to do 6 cycles a match, and because you guys slowed your speed down too much, you might only be able to do 1 or 2 cycles a match because you're going 5 feet per second. The kid's about 10.
Right. Okay. All right, well, and then, if you can, definitely, thanks. And, we'll look at the website for some tutorials on the programming, but,
sure.
Yeah, there was, I can find the information again. I don't know. There was a gentleman in the Marshall school they might have along the same area as we do, and I was going to check with him, but I'm not able to. We need to find somebody soon to help with the programming, to help learn it.
A link on there to the green steps in the notes when we'll send those out. So take a look at that.
Wayne,
Thank you.
Listen, we're actually going down to Swan Valley in Saturday. Me and my 2 programmers, they've offered to introduce us to LabVIEW. So
Reach out to local teams in your guys' area. You go to thebluealliance.com. You sometimes do searches by city and you see where teams are relative to you, or you can even go to First of Michigan's website. I think they have a map. It'd be an older map that's slated for this season. You can kind of see where teams are you can talk to them, see what you can do. I mean, if anyone was local to the Flint, I mean, we'd be more than happy to have you, stop by for a few minutes to an hour to kind of help you guys with some things if you were close. But so sometimes to reach out to local teams, that's also extremely helpful because a lot of teams that are have a knowledge. So.
Did you wait to switch out of programs? Go from Java to LabVIEW, or?
I'd say no. Most times I suggest people going with a language on their mentors, right? So if you have a mentor or something like that maybe is more keen on Java and C++, stick with that. Cool. If you don't, if you just have students, LabVIEW might be a little bit better just because you're getting a little bit more support from CSAs and maybe people at events because of LabVIEW. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have people at events running Java or C++. So it's kind of example of switching gears. Here where you did all your coding, you're like, let's switch over to this other platform because they all have their own benefits and advantages.
Okay. I didn't know. I was just curious. I was some ideas. Yeah,
sure.
Okay. All right, Brandon, help. Get it.
Yep, no problem. And so the RL light, light that came in your kit, it's an amber light that you connect to your RoboRio. So that can also show the status of your robot, whether it's enabled or disabled. So it has to be connected on the competition robot. Again, it's used by the field management crew to see if the robot is communicating with the field, if it's enabled or disabled. I don't know in my head what all the different there's different flashing patterns, and solid, I believe, means enabled, means disabled.
It's two. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
It's
solid means
actually the opposite.
Flashing, yeah.
Yeah, thing is
I just check it. Yep.
So
What he was saying was, enabled and solid is disabled. And the thing that's kind of where depending on what type of speed controllers you have, differences in flashing, whether while communicating to the field, it's mainly field flashing is a little bit different. So the speed controllers. Another thing is that the speed controllers flash when they're enabled, right? Will be off or solid, flashing green or solid red or flashing red when you're giving them, power or percentage. So it's kind of the speed controllers do one thing, and RSL light does the opposite, right? So RSL flashing means it's enabled. Speed control should be off or green or red if you're applying power to them, and then if you're disabled, the RSL should be solid, and all of the speed controllers are typically flashing yellow or amber.
Can I have a question? For robot, is there a specific place that amber light has to go?
Usually in a visible location.
And
Up
that can
is
be
usually preferred.
They prefer to have it in a visible location. I've never really seen anybody get called out for having it be too bad. Like I said, sometimes because your robot, you just can't put it anywhere else because it gets in the way. So personally, does the RSL light make your robot perform worse? Maybe you can at least have it in a spot where you can kind of see it. You can say, hey, when we put it on the field, it's going to be down in front of us. We want light to be able to be seen down in front of us so we know, hey, we turned our robot on or connecting to the field. So we always place it that the RSL light will kind of face our driver station when driving it around so that we can see it. but it's supposed to be visible. It doesn't have to be on the tippy top of your robot, but the room got the space. Why not put it on the top?
There's a status light quick reference sheet on the stop, so I added that in the notes too. So it has it looks like all the different LED indicators on from the RSL light, the Robo Rio, the radio, the PDP, VRM, the different speed controllers, your pneumatic control module. So it details out all the different status lights as reference.
We are probably going to have to table choosing your drive team until next week. We've still got quite a while before. Really, next week is probably the best week to talk about that, because that's probably a good half-hour conversation in itself. So we're going to have to table that for next week. Do want to remind you guys that Stop Build Day is February 21st. Make sure that's on your calendar. It's a Tuesday. You have to have your robot in a bag by midnight. And then next week we cover more about the rules for unbagging and your withholding allowances. I know we touched on it last week, but we'll go into it in depth in a couple weeks for you guys. So then we'll open it up for any other questions on anything that you guys have before we end the call for tonight. Anything that we didn't cover or clarifications on things that we did cover.
Yeah, this Wayne. Wondering with Clinton about if he's discovered my location of my batteries, or do I need to order a couple, or what?
I haven't been able to find it. I'll go to my first choice and I'll see if there's batteries available, and I'll ship them to your address instead of shipping them to me, and you can have one more of our batteries. So I can't find them. I called all the teams around you. I'll just ship you a battery.
They said they ended up home with 2 extra batteries, huh?
No, then the people around you, and they said they had 2, and so I asked Kettering if they saw any, and I haven't heard back from them. They didn't see any, so this Kettering also has like team building there, so who knows if they thought, oh, maybe that was our battery and it got into their pits or something, whatever. I'll fit another battery so you'll at least have your 2 that came in your kit, so you have that at least.
Okay, thanks. I just order 1, 2. That would give us 3, because I bought the charger system. It'll charge the batteries. So thank you much, Clinton.
Yep.
I have a question about the pit area. Is there on the website where we could have pictures or see like what, I've got someone who's trying to make like poster things and that type of stuff. So I don't know what we or can't do, or is there somewhere I can look to find out what you can and can't do?
So the pits that you're allowed, they say basically the maximum you will get is 10 by 10. The minimum is 8 by 8. So some events you'll get 10 by 10, some you get 9 by 9, some you get 8 by 8, some will get 8 by 10. So you kind of have to know that you might have to be adaptable. So do not plan on bringing a 10-10 pop-up tent to pits, because some events won't go up, right? In terms of images, posters, all that, whatever you can fit in a 10-10 or 8 space, you're more than welcome to bring. It'll actually usually help you with, judges and awards and stuff like that. But I say proceed with caution, because a 10 by 10 pit with a robot and some tools and a toolbox fill up very quickly. And if you've got too much stuff going on, it's hard to work on the robot and get things operational inside of there. So I don't know if there might be a section that kind of talks about that in the rules. I forget where it is, but there's a limitation of what you can't do. We actually switched to digital signage, if you will. Basically, we have a couple TVs that we put on top of our pit so that we can change and show our sponsor, our partners, and CAD drawings and stuff like that as people are walking by. And that's acceptable as well. Like I said, we raised some funds to be able to get those TVs to be able to put in our pit.
they looked at it though as we were spending a couple $100 every year on banners and reprinting things and art supplies and all the stuff to put stuff up in it. So we just went with the digital that was, you know, a couple $100 a TV, and now they're going to last us forever.
If we get a new partner between events, we can put that partner up and give credit just the same as the other partners.
To the event, you're given your pit and table, like the folding table.
Usually like a 6 foot.
Basically, yeah, 8 foot, depending on the event and depending on the pit. And you're basically a brick with 4 outlets in it, and you get.
Some will only give you 1 outlet, so.
Yeah, they're sure all yours.
Sure, you bring a surge protector to be able to plug your stuff in.
You get power and a table.
Yeah, we can probably go into more about pits probably later, kind of towards the end of the season. But if you're thinking about signage and stuff like that, like having a poster board, pictures of the team, that's always good. Usually, you want to make sure that you have your team name, logo, team number prominently displayed, so that when scouters and other teams are going through they can find you.
Yep, definitely have your team name.
Team name, team number, and city or school or something like that.
School and city. Sorry.
Yeah. When you come by our pits, you see our logo and team number and team name and all that, and you definitely know it's our pits. Some team, they do put signs up that have the team numbers on them, but you're going to want something a little bit more, prominent and more your branding, whatever your branding is.
Go to Google and just look up FRC pit areas. There are a whole bunch of different images that come up of what the teams have done. You can get an idea of and how you brand your team and the different equipment that they have in their toolboxes and areas where you can put your robot. And usually there's an area where you bring in your robot cart to transport your robot back and forth from the field. Like saying, the pairs are fairly small, so just be careful what you bring, because it's cramped pretty quick in that area.
My personal opinion, less is more. Your year, don't get too crazy and trying to bring everything, including the kitchen sink. Less is more. Make sure you have your spare parts, your tools, but careful about putting too many things.
There are always other teams who have the things you can borrow, especially rookie teams. The floors are hard, especially the people who are standing in the pits a long time. So if you want to bring weed and some foam mats, ago, and those are really great for the people working in the pits for hours in the weekend. That want to donate things, these are things that you can look into getting donated to you. So. Other questions? Okay, we'll be back next week, same time, same place. We'll be sending out the notes with the link to the video for you guys. Everything is on and all the notes are fixed and connected. And if you guys have any questions throughout the week, you can feel free to send us an email. Our email addresses are listed in the notes for you. And if you hear of anyone who needs help, send them.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead, Wayne.
I was on the website once and then lost track, and it's been a while. Those 700 points we get to spend, is that still available, or am I too late, or what?
It'll still be available.
At the end of the season. It's a
Where?
championship.
that website again.
firstchoicebyAndyMark.com. One, but it's firstchoicebyAndyMark.com.
And they're different than their regular AndyMark.com.
So
That's
items
why.
that might be available now might be limited. So
Yeah, fine. I
depending
just
on
want to spend them. I just want to spend them points if they're available. Just we've got our gear mechanism done. We're going to start working on our rope climb tomorrow, probably. So.
Sure.
All
Yep.
All right.
There's a lot.
Thank
Thank you guys. You guys for hosting
Talk to you
these,
next
especially for assessing fears of us high stress kind of people. It's a easy time of year.
That's what we're here
Nice.
for.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it.